Congratulations, you've made the decision to become an armed citizen. Let me tell you about the steps that I use to bring a person from knowing nothing about firearms to being a competent armed citizen. Welcome to the Armed Citizen channel, where you and I will discuss the finer and mostly undiscussed points of being an armed citizen. If you find my content valuable to you, please like, share, and subscribe, and maybe even drop a few coins in my tip jar to feed my ammo habit. Let's get on with it. All right, so you've decided that you want to strap up and become an armed citizen and take charge of your own self-protection, the protection of your family, and the protection of innocents around you. I can't say congratulations enough. This is a very proud and growing moment for anybody who decides to do this. Now, in my experience, I have brought several people through this journey from knowing nothing about firearms and got them to be a competent armed citizen. I don't take them all the way through it myself, but I get them going in the proper direction. So the first step is you've decided. That's great. The second step is you get a hold of a friend that you know that owns firearms, someone like me, who has the temperament to make this a positive experience. You don't want Bubba who's going to do things that will scare you and make it an unpleasant experience. Stay away from Bubba's. So the first thing I teach you is the 4 rules of firearm safety. And the 4 rules are, first and foremost, always treat a weapon as if it's loaded. The second step is you never, ever, ever point a firearm at something you aren't willing to destroy. The third rule is make sure your finger is off the trigger until you're ready to fire. And the fourth rule is always be sure of your target and what's beyond it. So once you've taken these to heart and you understand, and you'll need a little bit of help, getting through what you need to do to actually fulfill those rules, what I do is I bring them into my home, or I go to their home, and I do one of 2 things. I let them hold on to something like this. This is called a shot indicating resetting trigger, or a SIRT. This is made by Next Level Training. And this is an inert weapon. It does not activate. The only thing that moves is the trigger. And I would use this to teach someone in their home where they are comfortable how to stand, how to hold the weapon, how to grip the weapon, because gripping and holding are 2 different things, and then how to pull the trigger so you don't significantly deviate the sights away from where you want the hole to appear. That's all of shooting right there, is being able to line your sights up with the target where you want the hole to appear, and then to be able to pull the trigger all the way so the gun goes off and not significantly deviate your sights while doing so. If you have a Coolfire, which is made by CoolFireTrainer.com, they sell a kit that you replace your recoil spring and your barrel with basically a CO2 cartridge, and when you pull the trigger, it cycles a little bit of CO2, so the weapon actually quote unquote fires, but nothing comes out of the barrel except for the laser at the end of it. So you get an idea of recoil, and the recoil is very mild. I mean, think about getting a high five from like a 4-year-old. that's about how much one of these kick. It's very useful in training because it does trigger in your mind and your muscle memory that this is a live weapon, but it's not a live weapon. So using these, get used to all the different things that you have to do to fire the weapon at home where you're comfortable. Now you go to the range. And when you go to the range, they have a rental counter. They would be a very poor range if they did not have a rental counter. And it's one fee, and you get to borrow one at a time any weapon that they have in their inventory. How about that? The one stipulation is you have to use their ammo, which is a liability issue for them. So that's what their lawyers tell them to do. The first thing you do is you try to have the first range experience be like what you felt at home, hopefully with that cool fire, and you get hold of a .22 long rifle pistol. And you go and you take that onto the range and you shoot it. So you get used to the sounds of the other people on the range firing their weapons. You get to actually do some live fire stuff at a target, see how you do. And then you move up to a 9mm semi-automatic handgun. Now there are multiple reasons for this. Namely, the ammunition is cheap and plentiful. As far as the number of models that all the manufacturers make of 9mm semi-automatic handguns, that is by far the most. So you have the widest choice available. From there, you try them all. And what I mean by try them all is you get one from the range counter, you take it into the range, you load it with 5 rounds, and you go pop, 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 pop. You think about how that feels. And it's going to feel different every weapon, because every make and model, the dimensions of the grip are going to be different. The thickness, the depth that you can wrap your fingers around, the angle is all going to be different. And what you're doing here is you are test firing these weapons so you can find what fits you best. When I sold firearms, this is what I always tried to do, was to get them to go to the range counter before buying a weapon, finding what works for them. Because if the weapon doesn't feel comfortable in your hand, if you don't like shooting it, you're not going to practice with it. If you don't practice with it, God forbid, if that moment ever comes when you have to deploy that emergency rescue life-saving equipment to protect yourself, your children, your family, or innocents around you, if you haven't practiced with it, you're not going to be effective with it. So that's why we have to practice and train constantly. This is a never-ending journey. Now, like I said, 9mm, it's actually a kind of a mild cartridge. It doesn't have that big of a kick compared to, say, a .40 caliber or a 10mm or 45. And again, you want it to be a positive experience. So, not saying that I don't suggest that you move on to different calibers, up or down, after you've purchased this firearms. So once you've gone ahead and test fired a variety of weapons, 5 shots each, what you want to do is as you find one that you like, you write it down on a list, and you keep going until you have, say, 5 or 6 ones that you like. At this point, you go through that list of the ones you like and you try them again till you narrow it to 3. I suggest 3 because it gives you some choice in the matter. More than just this one or this one and that one. 3, maybe 4, but you don't want to have too wide of, shall we say, a field to play in. Now you go to the range counter, or not to the range counter. Now you go to the retail counter. And next to each one that you want to look at, you write down the price for that weapon. And then you go home. And you think about it, do some YouTube videos on reviews of those weapons, figure out which one you want, see how much it costs, and then triple that. The reason why you're going to triple that is because there are going to be ancillary costs, shall we say, for the firearm. Because when you're just getting into a sport, a hobby, a lifestyle like this, there is not just the one thing. There's always more things around it that you also need that are just as important. So once you decide on the weapon, you budget for 3 times. And here's what you're going to spend that extra cash on. First thing is a holster. You're actually going to end up getting 3 holsters for this guy, because the first holster is going to be whatever the store has. And it may or may not work for you. It probably won't. You'll figure out how you want to carry it, and this won't do it for you. So you'll go to another store and you'll get a second holster, and you'll have some knowledge on, what you're looking for as a type of holster, and you get that one, and then you understand the limitations of that one, and you go looking, and finally you find the one that you like the most, which is your third holster. You're also going to need extra magazines. I personally keep about a dozen active magazines for every firearm I have. I keep 6 that are just for training. All I do is load them with the range ammo, the practice ammo. I keep 4 for the self-defense ammo when I actually carry the weapon out in public. That one's full of the self-defense ammo. And then there's a couple more for other more specific things. But you want training magazines, you want carry magazines, and those two do not mix. You put the carry mags aside when you go training with it, and you put the training mags away when you pull out the carry mags. You're going to need a cleaning kit. Now, most firearms today will come with a basic cleaning kit, which will be probably like a brush and a stick that you use with the brush to run it up and down the barrel to clean it. But there's more to cleaning a firearm than that. So you're going to want to get a cleaning kit. Now, for most of these items, you're going to have to depend on the store staff. And you tell them what's going on, and they will help you decide on what to get as far as a cleaning kit. You're also going to need to get cleaning solvents and oils to lubricate the firearm. You're also going to want to get practice ammo. It's also known as full metal jacket or ball ammo, and that stuff goes in the practice magazines for you to practice with. It is relatively inexpensive. And then you're going to want to get self-defense ammo, which is also known as jacketed hollow point, JHP, self-defense ammo, things like that. And that's what you're actually going to carry in your firearm. You're also going to want to have a monthly budget for range time. Range time can run right now about $75 a shot. And that's an hour on the range. That's a couple boxes of ammo. That can be a friend with you. That can be targets, rentals of other firearms that you might want to be curious about, things like that. If your local range, you like it, they have a membership program. I would run the math on that to see if it's cheaper for you to have a membership there. Generally, a membership allows for not having to pay range time. Me personally, I pay about $35 a month at my range, and it's $24 an hour. So if I go twice a month, which I'd go more than that, I've already paid for my range time. So that saves a lot of money. You're also going to want to get private lessons. If you are just starting out, your gun friend that I talked about at the beginning, which, probably me, they can only take you so far. They're not a trained instructor. And instructors are taught not only the material, but how to teach. I know this because I used to be a scuba diving instructor. So they teach you what you need to know. And even myself, with 30 years of experience, every now and then I have to get some private lessons to help me address getting over a bad habit. I've need to move up a level in my skill to become a better shooter. And with private lessons, it's generally 2 hours of time, and you get that instructor's undivided attention for the entire time. It's one-on-one. If you want to bring a friend, it's 2-on-1. That's up to you. Once you've gone through 1 or 2 sessions with the instructor and practiced what he or she has taught you, then you can look at getting into classes. Now, classes, you're going to have one instructor, you're going to have 10, 15, 20 people. So the instructor's attention is going to be divided between all of the students, and actually he'll have to donate a little more time to those who are struggling. So you're not going to get the one-on-one time that you do in a class that you would with private lessons. But generally, you're going to use the classes. First of all, there will be generally a concealed carry weapons class that you'll need to attend in order to obtain an actual CCW license. In a later video, I am going to talk about the difference between a CCW license and constitutional carry, but that's outside the purview of this particular video. But training and practice is something that you're always going to have to do. That's how you become proficient with the use of your firearm. So once you make it to this point, you are often ready to go, and you're going to go and grow as a shooter. And I congratulate you on that, not only for starting the journey, but continuing all the way through it and maturing in your skill. Y'all have a wonderful day. Thank you for watching the entire video. If what I discussed here was valuable to you, I ask that you like, share, and subscribe, and maybe drop a few coins in my tip jar to keep me in ammo. Thank you.